What do you mean there's lore in this game?
Yeah, that's right. There's lore in this game. And how do we know that? Well, one, Bobby Frankenberger, host of the All Around Science podcast, as well as the occasional Instance podcast, and we had a season of that going. And he shows up on TMS all the time. A big-time WoW player and a guy who knows exactly what's going on right now in World of Warcraft. He's here with us now. Hi, Bobby. How's it going?
Hi, how are you all?
We're very good.
Hello.
Good to have you here, man. How's it feel to be in the little chair over there?
It feels as good. What do you call my chair? Little.
Yeah.
It feels as good as it does anytime I'm in this chair all the time.
Oh, well, good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good to have you here. Everybody, obviously, we all kind of know each other here, but, Bobby's a...
I do have one
Do
question
it.
before we begin.
Do it.
Why did I get replaced visually?
Oh, you know what? Good
Layout.
question. I could do that pretty easily right
Like,
there.
I'm not to take it personally or anything. I just am curious. My first question about this new segment: why in this 4-square setup that you have, did you decide the logical solution for the fourth guest would be to just put him right over my place?
Well, we figured since we got rid of your segment, Dear Martha, for today, we may as well also get rid of the person who does Dear Martha.
So take a break, John. I understand.
Take a break. That's all we're saying. No, that's not true at all. We like everybody here, but we're really glad to have you here, man. We haven't done this before, so this is going to be interesting. We're basically replacing what we do with the instance with this, because it turns out, after 20 years of trying to create content around the instance, it turns out it's actually a lot easier or more sensible in the year 2025 to do it in chunks like this. In 2008, it was easy because there was content gushing out of every hole that was World of Warcraft related back then.
Yeah.
It's not so much true now. So we're going to try this for a while.
What I like to say, I think it's more that there's still content gushing out of every hole.
Yeah.
As you say in podcasting, that's the common parlance.
Yeah.
But
everyone
it's
says
just that there are so many more people out there doing the same thing that it's sometimes when you're coming back into it, you gotta find where you fit now, and that's not a bad thing. There's a lot of really great content creators, and after talking, you and I, for a good bit for this and giving it the old college try, doing it the old way, we decided, what would be even better is to do it this way.
Let's do it a new way. And not only that, people who like it the old way are still going to get this. They're hearing it now, in fact. They're going to get this little chunk excised out of core, the body of core, and then put on some sort of life support system and running all individually by itself.
You're clipping out this point and John from
the
segment?
Yes. This entire thing is being clipped and put into, or at least this segment will be clipped and put into the instance feed. So people who are already
we're on the instance now.
You're on the instance.
Congratulations!
Yeah, congratulations. You're here.
Yeah. Back when I did a World of Warcraft podcast, my co-host on that show, Ben, when I started being friends with you, Scott, he said, "You're not allowed to do the instance," and I said,
Gotcha.
"Okay."
Is that true?
And so now I think this is I backed into it. This isn't a betrayal of Ben. Ben, I don't have to apologize. This isn't. I've been sabotaged. I've been
It's
kidnapped.
like a Godfather situation, John.
Yeah.
It's like
Sure.
Just when you thought you were out,
You're back in.
pulled you-
Is that way? It is Godfather, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because if he betrays him, he's not going to get loaned any money. We established that earlier.
Yeah, I won't be able to get Battlefield 6. Who's going to buy it for me if not Ben?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hope Ben hears this, by the way, so he knows that his name is being brought up in vain. Well, anyway, Bobby, let's get to it. There are a few things happening with World of Warcraft, including an upcoming expansion and a few things around that. But where do you want to start with this? You want to talk about the patch first?
Yeah, I think that's a logical place to start. The patch just dropped on Tuesday, patch 11.2, Ghosts of Koresh. And as the title implies, we're going not back to Koresh, we're going to Koresh for the first time. Koresh being the homeworld of the Ethereals. You remember the Ethereals?
Mm-hmm. Love the Ethereals. But they got mummy stuff on them, and they got glowing bullshit underneath the mummy wrappings and the whatnots.
Yeah. They were first introduced back in Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
And we've been wondering what's the deal with them ever since, really.
Yeah, all they've been relegated to, a little bit of story here and there, but mostly it's been like, hey, do you guys want to do void storage and like hang out by the portals? That's it. That's all we let them do.
Right. So we're going back there to see what's left of their shattered world and then help them stop the Shadow Guard, which are like extremist people from Koresh. They've been around for the past expansion or two here and there, popping their head in and causing trouble. But they're trying to summon Demencius, the All-Devouring, which is a Void Lord. And we're trying to stop that from happening. Working with Xalatath, the big bad guy in this expansion. We're working with her.
Oh gosh, dang it! We've had to turn a corner. So okay, I've been out since I think December or January. I haven't played very much for a whole bunch of reasons. We have to get into those reasons, but or maybe I was up till February. I don't remember. Whatever it was. So I don't know when that turn happened, but this represents the crescendo of all of this, right? We're done. This is the final and big third major content patch of this expansion before.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the final bit for the opening chapter of. It's really confusing, right? Since they're doing like different acts and different in the whole war with like the World Soul Saga, right? This expansion is the first chapter in that 3-part saga. I'm using a bunch of words that mean chapter.
All right. Saga, chapter, section.
But you
whatever.
know, each of the chapters is broken up into patches, which also tell parts of the story. But this is the end of that. The War Within was the first part of this 3-part saga that they're telling the story of, and then the next one is going to be Midnight, which we'll talk about in a minute. And this is sort of closing that out. And yeah, you were saying you don't know when that turn happened with Xalatath becoming Xalatath's, I guess, ally.
Yeah,
she's becoming our ally. That happened in this patch. Like you have to get part of the way through the quest series of this patch to even learn that. Of course, everybody already knew it because it was spoiled, and they were they kind of talked about it a little bit, or at least hinted at it. But that's what we're doing is working with her to try to stop this Void Lord from being brought into the world, because presumably. First is Koresh, then is as is with everything in World of Warcraft. No matter where the threat is, it's always coming to Azeroth next.
Right.
And
then they go, champion. We need you to freaking get over here and do stuff. Champion.
Well, Xalatath goes champion. I go, ooh.
Do you? Do you like? Are you a fan?
If that's how you are, Bo, she really likes to play on your lust for
in
her.
The storyline, without spoiling things, she calls you my champion. You become her champion.
Ooh,
yeah, and she says it just like that too. It's
creepy.
But
I don't know how I feel about that.
So the name patch features, I want to just real fast rattle them off, because I think, like I said to you, Scott, offline, there's a lot of stuff with this patch, and I don't want this segment to be about like, let's talk about all the features. If you want that, you can go to Wowhead and read all about it.
Sure.
But we're returning to, so it's going to Koresh, but the other place we're returning to is Tazavesh. You may remember Tazavesh, the Veiled Market. It was a mega dungeon back in, was it Shadowlands?
Shadowlands.
That's
sure.
right. That's why this looks familiar. Okay.
So instead of raiding it or attacking things in it, you're actually, it's a hub now, city. You go in there, and there's a new faction, the Koreshi Trust, or the Koresh Trust. It's a bunch of all the different cartels of the Ethereals, which are a cartel, and then you've got the Brokers, who it turns out Venari. Why am I messing up the name?
Venari.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Venari, the broker that we hung out with in Shadowlands, she is also one of these people. Turns out all those brokers were one of these people from Koresh all along. And there's just a bunch of different cartels we're working with. You get a legendary cloak called the Rishi Wraps, which are apparently this item of power that the Ethereals were used, at least the high-ranking ones, and you go around trying to find them to make this cloak that helps you turn into energy, which is the only way you're supposed to be able to get into the Mana Forge Omega, which is the raid where Demencius is being summoned. And then you get in there and
you do raiding like we're used to doing, right?
You do your thing, yeah.
Back to raiding. So really, the nuts and bolts are this. We're similar.
It's the same
cadence.
old thing. Yeah. Same old thing. Yeah. There's a couple of new features. They're like the Rishi Wraps, which are your legendary cloak. They also allow you to do this new thing they're calling phase diving. They make a big deal out of this feature. It's really just it activates an energy overlay on the world that makes it so you can see other things in the world, and just makes it's sort of like another dimensional overlay of the map, which puts you into two different phases of the world that you can optionally go through at will to do. Some things are in the phase diving part, and some things are not accessible there, so you just have to go back and forth.
Gotcha. It's a little like those what was the system they had at the beginning of this for this latest
World Soul, like the soul fragments.
Kill a bunch
Yeah,
of
that's a perfect comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're out doing all that.
I do have a question because we are on features right now, and I've been playing.
Yeah.
I haven't played since I raided a bit in Goblin Times, and bailed. But
No hard feelings, don't worry.
Yeah, no, everyone's
well,
good.
I'm back. I'm back for the patch.
Are you? I'm excited then.
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna be playing. I don't know if Scott's gonna be playing.
Yeah,
But
I knew that
Fridays
was
are fun. But I really didn't enjoy the raid. I think
I didn't either. You're not alone.
Laser light show. Not that that's what we're talking about right now, but
Right.
It was a bit much. The question I had was, so I haven't logged in a little bit, and you get confused because you miss features, and so I thought the horrific visions that was there. And
Yeah.
I didn't play a lot during Battle of Azeroth, so I didn't have context. I thought this was the new content, so I spent a bunch of time in there, just like, what is this? And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And I eventually figured.
Oh,
out.
you went and you were doing the horrific visions, thinking
So-
that was the new content.
Yeah, so I think the horrific visions was part of the new content, but I think that was like in between material between.
Yeah, it
Goblin
was. It was the
Time.
11.1.7 content.
My question about that is though, I think I got like a weird socketable belt from that.
So
And I
that
just
wasn't
wanted
from,
to know this. Oh, where's the belt from? Yeah,
So
if the
no,
belt's
it's
important, should I work
it's from
on
the
belt?
in between content, and it's definitely important. It's not necessary. The Rishi wraps, which are the legendary cloak, they are necessary. You can't get into the raid without them.
Yeah,
but
I got
the
my
belt,
Rishi wraps and I feel good.
Yeah.
About it.
The belt you're talking about is called the I can't even remember what it's called, but it's got this complicated name, and it's like a Titan belt that you can add abilities to. It's similar in function. Like if you think about like the game function, the game design function, it functions similarly to, if you remember back in Dragonflight when you went to that island and you got the ring, the Circe's circlet ring.
Yeah.
And
I
and you could
hated
get
that
and
frickin'
it's sort-
thing. I hated
and
it.
it sort of like was a really high level ring that had a bunch of powers in it and stuff like that. It serves the same purpose. It's not necessary, but a lot of the theory, a lot of specs and classes are.
Like it's a worthwhile thing to do because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was outdated.
Well, I would check on your class to find out if it's like a
For
lot
sure.
of them
We don't have
consider
to
it
go
best
into
in
too
slot.
much detail. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure if it was a gimmicky item for horrific visions alone, or if it
No,
was
yeah, it can carry you
bringable
through
elsewhere.
for sure. No, it's definitely a good piece of gear. So yeah, check it out.
That's about when I fell out. By the way, was that ring? That's when I fell off. I hated that.
That
thing.
ring was last expansion.
Yeah.
Is that when you?
No, not then. Then not. What's the one where they?
No. The ring was between Goblin Town and
Yeah,
Lush.
that thing.
The Isle
was
of,
it?
The Isle of.
I didn't
or
like it,
whatever.
so clearly I don't remember.
You liked it so little, you thought it was the previous expansion.
Yeah.
You thought
I've tried-
Dragonflight had the ring. That's great.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was, Blizzard.
Well, that's one of my complaints right now with what's going on. Every little content patch feels so disconnected right now. But I don't know.
easy to. Yeah, we'll forget the ring ever existed. It was a hot deal for a minute, and now no one cares. That thing sucked.
They made an island, and you do some weird stuff on it. Timeless Isle style, I guess, but it's just a ring.
Yeah, it was no big deal.
Yeah.
It kicked me out of the game. That's when I kind of
It
stopped.
depends. If you're trying to gear up for raid, Tanner's going to tell you, "Hey, man, why don't you go get your ring?" So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You do what Tanner says.
do what
That's
Tanner tells you to do. All right. Well, that gives us a good idea of what's coming patch wise.
Yeah. There's an interesting change to Mythic Plus that I did want to highlight because I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on it before we get into one of the big things that I wanted to talk about, which is this pre-order news that everybody has heard about.
I have not heard about this news.
Oh, well, good. But anyway, so one of the big changes they're making to Mythic Plus, there's all new dungeons and everything, whatever. Go check those out and find out what they are. Every season they do that. But they've added a new feature into Mythic Plus called this new debuff called Keystone Deserter. And basically, if you bail on a Mythic Plus Keystone run, you get a debuff called the Keystone Deserter. And yes, that sounds familiar, right? Because they did this with things like PvP and the looking for the raid finder thing. So the LFR queuing. If you left, then you wouldn't be able to queue again. But this works a little differently. What you can still, because Mythic Plus you don't queue for, right? You put your name on a list, and people putting together groups check you out, and they invite you in.
Right.
So they can't really keep you out for a time limit because of how that works. So what they've done is they've just basically given you this debuff that doesn't mess with your stats or anything. It just labels you. It's like a scarlet letter. It labels you as someone who abandons groups. And it shows up on the group finder tool when you say I want to join this group. They'll see in the list of names, they'll see this icon next to your name that identifies you as someone who has in the past bailed on a group before it was done.
Right.
And so that's a really interesting feature, I think, that they're hoping, I guess, is just going to cause social pressure for you not to
Now,
abandon these runs.
So is this part of the pre-order? Or?
No. This is in the game now.
Oh, okay.
They just added it in this patch.
Is the single button play rotation thing also in right now?
Yeah, it is, and that's been it's been surprisingly well received.
Yeah, people seem to like it, and I had a question. Well, this question is for John because John
Play on controller now.
John strike me as somebody who would have recoiled at this if you were playing WoW right now actively. You would have not liked this idea, or maybe I have it backwards, and you would love this idea. But the concept is they basically took a popular mod. I forgot the name. Bobby, do you remember the name of that mod? There was a mod that was like
there's
this.
There's a mod called Hakili.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That basically just kind of simplified or let you know what your rotation should be at any given time.
What should you cast next?
Correct. Yeah. And the game is now doing this by default if you turn it on. Not by default. I think you have to.
More than that, they're putting it on a single button that you can put on like the one key on your action bar, and you can just keep pressing that. You can spam it over and over.
Yeah, you just spam the button. Yeah. I as soon as I heard about that, I went, well, that's the question I'm asking John Jagger. What do you
get my hot take on this hot one button issue?
What'd you think of that? This hot button issue?
Yeah. I don't know, because I don't think it's necessarily an extremely easy answer for me, because on the surface, I think that class complexity and learning your rotation and knowing how to play your class properly is that's one of the mechanics of the video game. This does, to a degree, somewhat trivialize that. WoW in particular is kind of a... sorry, guys, I don't play WoW anymore. It's a bit of a shit show when it comes to trying to understand the language of raids. Like, at least it was the last time I played. Yeah. Like, the language of stand here, don't stand here, move over here. This is an effect you want to be in. This is an effect you don't want to be in. This is effect you got to look out for. You got to be on this side of the room. It's really, really hard, in my opinion, from the last time I played, to understand that in WoW. And it has also become a game that has become so stacked on mechanics for fights. I mean, you look back at Burning Crusade and what a boss did, and it was like, you know, you look at Gruul's Lair, right? And it's like, well, you're going to fight this guy, and every now and then he's going to knock you back. And then you got to walk back in, and you're going to get petrified. And people were like, this can't be done. That's too many. It's too many brain cells. You're asking too much of me. It's impossible, even for a computer. Yeah. And it's changed. Like now, if you saw a fight like that, you'd be like, well, Blizzard's not even trying anymore. There's been this evolution of mechanics and how the game works. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea if you don't want the rotation to be the challenge. If you want the challenge to exist in another area, I don't think it's terrible that you do that.
It's obviously got good like accessibility features too for those who just straight up don't have the ability to.
Yeah, and again, here's my philosophy on accessibility features. I think games should do everything they can to be as open to as many people as possible. That's my blanket statement. I don't require these features. I'm not an expert on it. I can't speak to it.
Right.
If you want to hear a take of someone who's going to use accessibility features, I'm not your guy. So obviously, if it helps in some way with that, great. But speaking from someone who doesn't need it or interact with it, that's not the perspective I'm going to tackle it from.
Right.
The MMO I currently play, Final Fantasy 14, everybody knows it. That has a game where the mechanics of a raid and boss fight are more of a dance. There's a bit of a memorization to it, and the difficulty curve in that is the harmony of knowing your rotation in conjunction with the dance of the fight. WoW is not that synced up. It's not that much of a rhythm game, to kind of phrase it dismissively. It's a little bit more complicated, and I think if they want to take the pressure off one aspect of the game to put focus on the other, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. But, Scott, you're right. I hear it, and I go, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think that's what most of the community's reaction was. And, well, I shouldn't say most of the community because I don't know the real demographics of the community. But, you know, casual versus raiders versus hardcore raiders, all that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of the people who were being vocal about it, that was their reaction. But you're seeing a big shift away from that. There are a lot of raid teams that are now really asking people and encouraging people to use this one-button rotation as a raid leader. And I can see why, because as a raid leader, I know there are so many times when we're progressing where I have to drill into the team like, guys, we're not worrying about your DPS right now. Don't worry about your rotation. Just look at what's on the ground and figure out the mechanics. And this kind of allows them to do that without sacrificing their DPS.
Yeah, WoW is a Souls like now.
And that's where, that's where a lot of people are saying it's going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if your design space is either, do you want to sit there and max your rotation? Well, it's annoying to have to dodge things, which is like, I play Fury Warrior. I just want to stand there have as much uptime as possible to build my stacks of whatever it is to make a big bloodthirst do 4 million damage, you know? And so every time I got to dodge, I'm like, well, my rage is going to fall off. And well, I'm you know, so I don't mind that there are windows, but this was like my aggravation with Goblin Town was like the last two encounters where it was just a bullet hell at a certain point. Like I almost felt guilty sometimes where I was like, wasn't taking responsibility because people were throwing bombs places and stuff. And I'm like, there's just so much and it's not relaxing.
Yeah.
But that thing you're talking about raid teams like requiring one button use, it's a concept from MOBAs. It's the burden of execution. You know, if you have a fancy hero like Kel'Thuzad that has high risk of failure because you got to combo a bunch of pieces perfectly to get a kill, versus, you know, you play Greymane, you press one button and you eat their face off. You know, if you're playing like in a competitive setting or, you know, even if it's casual, but at semi-competitive, which Heroic is kind of like that. They're tough encounters. You will go for the reliable one rather than fancy play syndrome. And so that's not a problem with controls. I think single button is fine. It's like a design goal. Are you a Souls-like or are you, you know, an aging MMO? Because I had this problem with Classic. With Classic, when they did Season of Discovery, it was like the new content, super psyched, and it felt like modern raid in Classic with like just how much instructions there were. And I'm like, I kind of just want, what's that guy's name? The meat hook guy or whatever. I just want to pound something with the deep health pool.
Who's the deep?
What's the guy in Nax?
Oh, Patchwork.
Yeah. Patchwork.
Oh, Patchwork.
I'm like, I'm pretty happy getting together with some friends, doing 8 patchwork fights. It's not the most engaging, but like,
yeah,
I'm not looking. I don't have anything to prove, so I'm not like.
And I think it's pretty clear that the developers are rethinking how raids are designed because of the fact that they're also, you know, there's a lot of talk right now. Ian Hazakostas has been talking about how they're working on making changes to the game that will make a lot of add-ons non-functional because they're trying to say not that they hate add-ons, but they don't like they're finally coming around to what everybody's been saying and saying like, look, we get it. Add-ons are in raids are more or less necessary, especially if you're going to be playing at a higher level. So, and we don't like that anymore. We don't want those to be necessary. And so they're realizing, well, the only way we're going to be able to change that is if we wipe the slate clean and we say, now that you can't use them, now we're forced to design better encounters, you know?
That's interesting. It seems so.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Well, you also
wild
look
thing.
at who are the worst people on the raid team. Again, my opinion, but it's the person who
I appreciate Scott taking responsibility as the guy who had the talent that auto taunted with the shield up the whole time, and Bobby was trying to figure out why he was losing strength. That was one of the most precious moments.
I'll admit it.
It took a long time for us. He's like, let me look at your talent tree.
I'd never tanked before.
Why did you take that talent?
I don't have any excuses except I never tanked before, and some of that shit I just learned as we went.
It was an honest mistake.
But I think that's fine. Like to me, the people that, in my opinion, are the worst people on the raid team. It's the people that do absolutely insane DPS because they've got their rotation down to an art and die in the first 5 seconds. So they have a really high DPS at first. It's like a sprint and then an instant stop. That's terrible. And then the counter to that is the people who do no DPS and have to be carried by the other people that are doing it.
Isn't that what you do?
No, for trash, yeah. I'm not going to fight trash for you. You didn't bring me into the raid to fight trash. You brought me into the raid
wake me up when the big show starts.
You told me to come to the raid to fight bosses and get loot. That's why I'm there. I didn't sign up for trash. It's not in my contract.
Sounds like I'll be in my trailer.
If you want to pay me to fight trash, I'll take it. If you want to give me the items that drop from trash, I'll take it. I'll help you fight it. But I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to fight bosses.
What's great about Bobby's comment about I'll be in my trailer? His trailer in this case is the giant corpse of the guy we killed last.
Yeah, so you can't find me.
No, just hiding in there.
I want you to think I'm fighting the trash.
Yeah, no, I get it. It was always clear to me, and I still wanted you there. So I don't know what everyone's problem is.
Because here's the thing: if you're not on the DPS meter at all, they don't catch you.
No, they don't even notice you.
If you just pretend, everybody catches you. Why is your DPS so bad? Because you're down there at the bottom. But if you don't hit it at all, you're not there. You might as well be invisible.
You're a yellow dot nobody's paying attention to in the other room. Yeah,
that's right.
Rogue thinking through and through.
Yeah, for sure.
That's 100% right.
That's exactly right. Well, interesting. So, all right, now we got to get to this pre-order thing. People are losing their shit over this. For good or for ill, whatever. Pre-orders are often peppered with incentives. This just feels like one of those. I'm not surprised by it. I'm a little bummed by it, but it's fine. Like, people will have it soon enough. But they're tying it to housing. Bobby, explain.
Well, so to be clear, pre-orders are not available right now.
Can't get
this
them
was
yet,
a leak. Yeah, this was a leak. It was more or less confirmed by Wowhead. I'm always very skeptical of leaks, but fortunately, Wowhead I trust, and Wowhead says that they confirmed that this was happening, which was basically some people were logging in when 11.2, the patch was live and people could log in. Some people were logging in and checking out the store, the in-game, and seeing pre-orders for Midnight, the next expansion.
Yeah.
And then one thing that they noticed was there's a lot of features available and everything, but one thing that was noticed was that housing, the big feature that everybody's excited about, World of Warcraft housing, was going to be available to early access if you pre-ordered the game. And if not, then presumably you just have to wait until it's live, right?
What was the thing in the current expansion? There was something in pre-order that was like this. Was it just playing early?
So it wasn't. It was the 3 days, getting to play 3 days early.
That's what it was.
Literal early access to the expansion, which they're deciding to do again with this next one. I think we kind of all thought that that's what they were just going to keep doing from now on.
Do you think the cake will be more cooked this time? Because it's the biggest beef I had about that launch. Fine, have people pay for early access to your game, but they weren't done. There was shit missing, like large chunks of stuff missing from the game that was supposed to be early access available until those 3 days later, whatever the days were. And then suddenly that day when the general public can get there, all those things are there. That was skeevy. I did not like that at all. And I understand they were just, under the gun, behind the eight ball, all the phrases you want to use. But I just don't think, if you can't be there day one on your early access, then why don't freaking do that?
Yeah, there was a lot of blowback from the community about that. We talked a lot about that when it happened, and hopefully they've learned their lesson and that won't happen this time, but who knows? Who knows? We'll only know when it happens. But housing early access is coming. You can pre-order the expansion, and when it drops, you'll be able to get it. Now, that, for a lot of people, confirms what the community has been speculating, which is that housing will be available. So a lot of times, new expansion content is available in the week or two leading up when the new like pre-patch comes live, right? Like whatever 12.0 will launch before the game actually launches, and that'll include a lot of the mechanics changes, a lot of the new systems and stuff like that. So a lot of people, you would expect that housing might drop there, but people are feeling like that this is confirmation to them that housing is going to be even earlier than that, which is something that people have been speculating based on looking at the roadmap for World of Warcraft for 2025. For a lot of people put a lot of value on just like a little symbol on a roadmap, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
we look at it and we go, "What are you doing there?" And then we hyperfixate on it.
Why is it 10 pixels closer to winter than it is?
I guess a key detail about housing early access, we don't know what the parameters are. Like, is buying a house an increase in your sub cost to maintain ongoing server costs for hosting your house? Is it a feature? Yeah. Is early access mean months ahead versus the 3 days? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown. Yeah, exactly.
So, and of course, this is because there's a lot of unknown. It's going to create a lot of speculation and argumenting, probably within the community. And I guess my take is I still don't understand enough about how it's going to be worked into the normally to put a value on early access. You know what I mean? That's like, are we getting it in a year? Then maybe I want the early access.
Yeah.
Why can't I get it after post? Why can't I get early access if I don't pre-order? Like,
what do we have a launch weekend or zone or something for when this does hit this expansion? Because then that would
we don't know yet. Presumably they're going to let us know at Gamescom when they give us our midnight announcement.
Okay.
When does that? When does Gamescom? That's soon.
A couple weeks, right?
August 19th.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks away.
All right, we're gonna answers to all this soon, and then the community can be mad. About
then they can all be mad. Yeah.
But I don't know. How do you feel about the housing early access? For me, I don't know that it's hard for me to judge it because it doesn't really affect me. I was going to pre-order anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But so part of me feels like, oh, cool, I get to see it early. That's neat. That's fun. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Part of me doesn't know. I don't know.
I bought the early access for War Within because I was so stoked. I pre-ordered way in advance, like just basically right after Christmas and finished talking. I was like, oh my god, I need to spend money.
Yeah. That was the idea. I think that's why they wanted to do that.
This is pretty much responsible for me buying into to WoW for this expansion.
Sure.
So having now pre-ordered and did the 3 days, I totally could have waited. Like that was like now I'm like,
it's like a lot of things like
they
that.
gate the content. Right? Like even now in this patch, I've already gotten to a point where Zaltas like my champion.
Yeah.
Come back in 6 days. Here, look at my feet in the meantime. So I'm like, well, what's the damn rush? So I'm like, I don't think, this is how I feel. I'm like, oh, I'm not really in a rush. Almost feels like why they're tacking on housing this time around. And you're probably going to feel the same way. It'll probably be early access, and then everyone will get it a month later, and you're like, well, what was the rush? It's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
But if this is like your lifestyle game, and it's the only game, you don't have a lot of video game expenditures. It's not that much more money for your favorite hobby, so I don't see.
And again, it's a game I think that a lot of people who are excited about this are going to be probably getting it anyway. So it's just you're getting it early, right? Yeah, like, are you going to pay for it early? And for me personally, I'm excited. Like, I am very excited about housing. So I'm the kind of person, who will sit and spend so much time, and everyone will be leveled to whatever the level is, 90, and in the raid, and I will still be level 81, sitting in my house trying to organize my living room. So getting it early maybe is good because I'll be able to do all that before the patch or the expansion launches.
I I think there's a little bit of a marketing play with this too, because I know even for me, when I buy a game in early access, a lot of the community won't, and like I can stream it and people can ask me questions and see the gameplay and decide. So, in a way, people might watch their favorite streamer play it and then get hyped and then also buy early access. And, there are games, especially community oriented games, where it's fun to play when everybody's playing and there's excitement for it. So, there's, I think, that element too. But if those aren't factors, then I think you can wait. Like if you work a 40-hour week job and you're like, well, I can play on Saturday. I could call in sick, or I could save my sick leave and just work and then play on Saturday, something like that. So
I think, well, like I said, I just think what they did last time by having so many issues and sort of emptiness in that first early access last time for War Within, I think that put a lot of people off. Now, will it be enough for the hardcores to go and resist? Probably not. They're probably still going to do it. But
I think they need to do better about that. You're 100% right. It needs to be worth it for people because, and I hadn't really considered this perspective before, but Nicholas in the chat room said something that I thought was really interesting. He said that early access is essential for a game like WoW to stagger launch, and I bet you that's absolutely true. That getting people excited about it and wanting to get in early makes the launch experience smoother for their servers, right?
Yeah.
So, but they need to make it a better experience than it was this last time, for sure.
That's one of those things where like I never feel sorry for them, because part of the fun of a new launch is crashing, the company. Whatever companies like that's, I don't know, that's entertainment for me. I'm always like, not that I'm rooting for anything to fail, but like I'm just like, oh yeah, it's a sign that the game is very popular, and as then that makes it kind of feel fun and exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting to see a little bit of a breakage,
and just understanding how these servers work. Like they have to spool up a ton of servers for launch, and then don't need them a month later. Like even for a lot of games, like just online games, like like ARPG or whatever.
Well, they're all virtual now, but yeah,
they will complain to the hills about online stuff not working, and fairly so. You want your product to work. But like from a business standpoint, it's like it's a huge amount of expenditure to set up infrastructure that will not be used.
It used to be. It's not as bad now because it's all virtualized. So if they do it now, it's still an investment, but they don't. It's all virtual, so they just say, we don't need 40%.
Well, they might be able to get AWS or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's what they do.
Like, I think there are different options where they don't just have to buy servers themselves and set them up and then have no use.
Yeah,
for
they
them
don't do any of that anymore. That's all gone. So it's all virtual.
But I don't know if Blizzard does it that way because...
No, they do. I talked to the engineer there. The guy who's in charge of that. That's the reason I'm bringing it up.
Are you allowed to?
Oh, yeah. Totally fine. Yeah.
You're like, hey, guys, I saw their secret ledger.
No, this isn't anything like, it's nothing hidden, but the days of a server shard, you remember when they sold those for charity or whatever they did?
Yeah.
Those days are long, long gone. It's all virtualized now. That includes Classic for those who are purists. If you think Classic's running on actual, blades, you're wrong.
The Classic Season of Discovery wasn't perfect. We definitely had queues, which is not the game going down, but we definitely had crashes during...
Oh, you can still have issues. And capacity's still an issue, but you just pay for it. It's not a physical pay for it or go, well, we don't have enough room in the server farm. It's more like we didn't ask for enough capacity from the place we use, AWS.
A lot of those
Azure
stories about those older games too are like, we set up 100 servers, and when it launched we couldn't believe how successful it was and had to put 500 more in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's not operating that way. They definitely have it down to a science for sure. Selling early access helps smooth out the pounding of launch day, but I suspect most people are still not buying early access, so they're still getting pounded anyways. There's a lot of people who play, millions.
Oh, yeah. It's still a small percentage, no matter what. But well, I think this is fascinating. I'm curious to see how it goes, and the housing thing in particular. When we have more cool stuff to talk about around the World of Warcraft space, guess who'll be back? It'll be Bobby. Yeah. He'll be right there in that chair, talking to us again. And maybe this time his little image will go up over John's face. You never know.
Was it okay, John? Maybe we'll have to get Bobby to play Final Fantasy 14 to even out.
There you go. I like that idea.
He's like, wait, why are you committing me to another game?
Bobby, in the meantime, tell people where they can find you so they can keep track of you, contact you, all that fun stuff.
Well, but despite the fact that I used to say that you could find me on the instance, but now you can find me here. When I'm not playing World of Warcraft, I'm constantly researching and writing about science because I have 2 science podcasts. One called Daily Science Brief. It's a daily science podcast that just goes through science news in 10 minutes every day, and then All Around Science, which is more like a long form podcast with me and my co-host, where we just go deep into whatever we think about and find interesting in science that week.
And don't forget, Bobby is Team Johnson when it comes to Shapes 2 with a Z being possibly, if it's released in 1.0 this year, the game of the year. All right? You guys heard it here first. That game's amazing. Bobby's way better at it than me, but he understands. He understands. He knows what's up. All right, man. We'll see you soon. I don't know how to kill your thing at the same time. I guess he can.
You can't kill me.
Now he's gone.